really interested to know a little bit about your work in the creative arts.
Probably about 4 or 5 actually. I got my artwork on the school wall and my mother tells me about it. Then I reached, did my A-levels, did A-level art, and won a competition at what was the Cleveland College of Art and Design at the time, a portrait competition. And I said to my mother, I think I'd like to go to art college. Applied to do fine art, was accepted at Leeds, and my mother said to me, don't think you're going to make a living doing that. So I think you get a proper job. And that's what happened. So I ended up in marketing. I did a business degree and then an MBA, and then I ended up in marketing. And to cut the very long story short, I did about, I think it was 5 or 6 years working for an advertising agency in Belfast, where I was on the creative side, but I was really a suit, what they called a suit. And I didn't actually do any drawing at all. I did a few sketches, but that was it. And I made TV advertising and radio advertising. That was in the Mad Men days, really. And then ended up doing a bit of teaching, lecturing, but all in business. Ended up in IT marketing, working for Sage in Newcastle, and then ended up having to retire early because my parents were ill. And that I just thought, well, I'll see if I can still draw. And that's what happened. That's it.
It's really interesting. There seems to have been a shift in like the younger generations, because I was the same, told like, no, you need to go and do all the serious subjects, and you know, get any idea of having art. My dad said I did art, but I only did that so I could doss off in the lesson. But it does seem now the younger generations are being more encouraged to explore whatever they want to do. And again, with me, I went to uni to do a creative writing after I lost my folks. So it just seems like you can, you know, it doesn't matter what age you are, you can go into it. But the younger generation are more encouraged to do so nowadays, I think. I've had a little shifty at your work online, and so can you tell people a little bit about the form it takes and the inspiration that goes into your paintings?
That's a really good question, because it's been very evolving. I really started off as a sketch artist, a figurative sketch artist. I didn't do anything more than that. And then I went to a class and I said, how do you paint? And the teacher at the time, it was just an adult class, and he said, well, you just pick up the brush and you just sort of put the paint on. I said, oh, right. So I literally painted over the drawing, and I'm inclined to sort of do that still. I don't feel confident unless I really know what I'm going to paint. So if it's figurative, because I can find, I've been told I've got good observation skills, so what I see, I can actually translate. So I don't need a grid or anything like that. So I can literally get the eyes and the nose and everything in the right place, more or less the right place. And then I started to look around at different styles of artists, and I really enjoyed what they called the painterly style. And I started quite carefully. And then the guy that a couple of people that I started to work with in a group, I started to slap it on literally, and it seemed to work for me. So someone said to me, you've got quite a painterly style. And I said, what's a painterly style? And so I was quite free with it then. So I've really enjoyed that side. I've done some abstract work. I've also been guided by what people have asked of me, which it's probably not really what painters do. They usually are guided by what they want to do. But if someone says to me, oh, can you do so and so? I'll go, I don't know about that. Well, I'll have a go, yes. So yeah, I think apart from, you know, having a love of different styles, it's really just been about what I like to do. Oh, I did actually, there was a friend of my husband's who was a great cartoonist, and he's made a whole, his living was as an artist. And I said to him one time, have you any advice for me? It was about 4 years ago. And he looked at some of my work, and my husband was quite proud of it. And as a typical artist, I never am. There's always something wrong with it. And I thought, oh, he's going to show him it. He's going to show him it. So he showed him it, and he made no comment at all. And I said, well, what would you suggest? He said, just let the brush do the work. And I said, so do I need to put more colour in? Do I need to this? Do I need to that? No. He said, just put the easel up. He said, and just let the brush do the work. And you know, it's the best advice. The best advice ever. I've just come from studio, and I've got a studio in the garden. It's just like a she shed. And I'm working on quite an abstract, very large portrait of George Best as a commission. And I've just thoroughly loved just letting the brush do the work. And a spatula. I'm very dirty. I make a proper mess. In my life, I'm very tidy. I'm very organized. I like to wear nice clothes. And sometimes I stand there with all the nice clothes on, and I make a right mess, and I come back covered in paint, and every single brush is filthy. Everything is filthy. So I don't know what that says about me.
I suppose that, you know, that's part of the reason why we have the arts. It's something, a different part of yourself to explore. Oh, there you are. You disappeared for a moment.
Yeah.
So, so do you exhibit?
Yes, I have done, and that was everything's been by accident, nothing by design, because it was never supposed to be any way that I would earn any money from it. I wasn't really interested in that, but there was a gallery in Redcar, and it was funded by Redcar Council. Unfortunately, it's not there anymore, with two lovely people that ran the gallery, and they put up on the website that they were interested in people coming along and being an artist in situ. So I sent some stuff off to them, and I thought, oh, that'd be interesting. Just a second, I think I've got company here. And I was very surprised that they said, oh yes, we'd like you to come along. So for a whole week, I sat there and painted, and people came in and out, and I had some paintings behind me on the wall, and a lady said to me, would you do my portrait? And I said, well, yes. So it all started from there. So then I had a full wall exhibited there, probably about 3 or 4 times. Then did some exhibiting up in the Washington Gallery, and let me think where else. Yes, at Billingham as well, all very local. I haven't tried to get anything into any Newcastle ones yet. So I think it's not really, it's not that I have an ambition. How can I explain this? I've made my living. I earned a good salary in what I did. So fortunately, I don't have to earn a living. I just need to enjoy it. If somebody wants to pay me something, that's great.
Yeah, well, brilliant. And what a fantastic position to be in.
It is. Yeah, it's a wonderful position.
I think even if money isn't a concern, it gives you a boost to have somebody want to pay you for the work that you enjoy doing.
Oh, it gives me a terrific buzz, an absolute terrific buzz. Yeah, my husband walking behind me. Yes, when someone says, "Oh, that's brilliant. That's just what I wanted," or "That's terrific," and I've even had people say to me, you haven't charged me enough and given me more money, because I basically only charge for my materials and that type of thing. So it's a tremendous plus, especially at this this end of my life where, yeah, it's very different. It's fun. Oh, it's great fun.
And I suppose perhaps you haven't been too really impacted upon by lockdown.
No, no. Well, being in the fortunate position where I haven't needed to earn money, I've just slipped down to the bottom of the garden, spent hours there just painting, and yeah, that's it really. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It hasn't been a problem really. Drank too much wine, ate too many biscuits, did too much, yeah, painted, was on FaceTime an awful lot, speaking to family, but apart from that, yeah, it was great. I don't know whether I did an interview on Radio Ortiz the other day because I had a surplus of paintings, so I put them on Facebook and I sold them and gave the money, well, the majority of it, to the NHS charities. So somebody picked up on that and asked me to go on Radio Ortiz to talk about that, so I did. So yeah, it's good.
Terrific. Absolutely wonderful. What a brilliant thing to do, and I'm glad that got recognised. I think at the moment we're really seeing with this this school meals fiasco. There's so many good people out there that are willing to step up and do what's right, even if that's not coming from above. And I think that's great. I think it's really inspiring that you know, these kids aren't going to go hungry, and that even though it's not the way it should be, that we've all managed to come together and do that. Like even Julie down at Shanty Cafe in Saltburn, I mean, she's in a bad place financially herself, but you know, she's still gonna be throwing on free meals for the kids.
Oh,
So,
that's lovely, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate in that position.
Yeah, I mean, we've been really lucky. I work from home anyway, and my husband's been working throughout. So we're in a lot better position than other people have been. So one thing that I normally ask people is, apart from, I mean, we've touched on some of it here, apart from, like, you know, the end result of producing a painting or having a booklet published, what do you think the arts gives people, the actual act of creation in itself, and what kind of part do you think it plays in society?
Just say that again. I didn't catch all of it.
So, what do you think the art, creating, being involved in the arts in itself, does for you, for your health, and what role do you think the arts plays in society?
Oh, well, I think the arts in society has been fundamental to the well-being of people for years and years without it being acknowledged. You know, it was just, I think in the 60s and the 70s, my era was sort of the 70s and the 80s, it was, you know, people who are in the arts and stuff like that, as my mother said, well, they're all a bit nutty, and but the truth is, it's a wonderful sense of escapism. It's also a relaxing thing. I think it's inspiring for young people. The world is open for young people now. There's no judgment about who you are, what you do, or what it presents like, whereas years ago there was that judgment. So I think it's liberating. I really do think it's liberating. For me, it's completely liberating. It's totally relaxing, and I just forget about everything. I can be doing it for hours. As long as I've got the radio or something in the background. And sometimes, I think I probably enjoy, this is weird, probably really weird. I enjoy listening to Politics and Radio 4 whilst I'm daubing away. It's a bit like, do you know, I don't care what shit's going on that radio. I really don't care. You can lock me down as much as you like. I'm quite happy here. And I think it's that, I don't know whether that explains it, that there's the creative arts, whatever your medium, it gives you an opportunity to lose yourself totally.
Absolutely, I love that idea. It's like an act of zen and rebellion to have
Yeah.
that and just say, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Creating.
Doesn't matter. I'm here doing what I'm doing, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter whether anybody likes it or someone says that's awful, or it's subjective, isn't it?
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
might like what I do and someone else might not. Who cares? I'm happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think today about Banksy and about the value of art, and you know, his Manet paintings sold for, I don't know, 7 million or something. And it's like, okay, and I do really think Banksy is a tremendous artist. I'm not dissing that, but it's just like, basically some rich person has decided that they want to invest in a piece of artwork, and that doesn't actually make it more important or worthy than anything that anyone's producing. It's just like, who's got to say that that's what that artwork is worth. Yeah, I think I think putting a monetary value on art is a tricky thing, because I think it's priceless in what it gives, the part that it plays, certainly in my life and everyone I know. I was saying to a friend the other day, I mean, I've always had a proper job at the same time, which is mainly accounts. And I do quite enjoy it, but it's like, you know, I wouldn't come home and say, oh God, I really produced this, and you should have seen my balance sheet, man. It's like, I wouldn't put in on a festival of Excel spreadsheets, you know. But art is just something that you just do and enjoy and appreciate on its own. It doesn't need to have a monetary focus.
No, and that's the beauty of it for me, you know. And you know, going back to what my mother said, she was right. At that point in time, she was concerned that I was going to make a living, and she was very ahead of her time, and she wanted me to be independent. She used to say, you know, it's nice having a man, but you really want to be able to earn your own living. And so it was great advice, and I was always able to earn my own living. And yeah, now I can do what I like, and I enjoy painting and drawing and using other mediums. I possibly wouldn't have enjoyed it as much if I'd gone to art college and I was a starving artist.
Yeah, I have to say, all seems to have worked out brilliantly for you, and I'm really pleased to.
Thank you.
You've made this great life for yourself, and that you're enjoying it to the full despite the circumstances.
Yes.
Even you know, with a little bit of bring it on. I've still got my painting, so you can't get me.
Brilliant. That's right.